Hello, happy witching hour. Hello, hello. This is High Priestess Jamila, and I'm still braiding up my hair. I'm gonna tell y'all something. It literally takes patience, and it takes patience and knowledge. Of how to truly use this Colecaline hair. Um, Kanekalon, because that's what I'm putting in my hair. I'm putting some braids in it. And I must say that I'm extremely happy with the growth that I've had. And so I'm sitting here braiding my hair as I'm talking to y'all. It's a really cute color too. Um, so, but I wanted to come and speak to y'all about something that a lot of people are not aware of. And so I'm getting ready to raise some awareness. All right. So I've made some amazing discoveries the past several years. And all of us, I think, as soon as we discovered social media, everybody wanted to connect, they wanted to be social. And so it started with MySpace. And then it graduated to Facebook, right? So these websites that you put your photographs and even your information, like your first and last name, you're giving a little bit too much information, possibly to the wrong people. So everybody goes on and on about these secret societies and things being done in secret, which is very true. So I want y'all to peep game, whoever is watching this. You find a website in social media, you put your information in. All of us did it when MySpace came out. And many of us were unaware of the traps that we were setting for ourselves. And this has nothing to do with the owners of this website, of these websites. And this has nothing to do with the government and radiation and conspiracy theories. This is exact spiritual fact that I'm speaking to y'all. So if you put yourself out there in social media, probably a lot of you guys were not properly protected because you didn't realize who could view your profiles. You didn't realize that. And, on my old Facebook, I had like a little over 5,000 friends. And I probably knew only 30 of them. So that's why that old Facebook is gone. And on these websites, you just never know who's watching you and why they're watching you. And you don't know what they know. You don't really know what they're up to. So peep game. You go on a website and you sign up. You put your first and last name. You put photographs of yourself, of your kids. You share your most intimate moments in social media. You have no idea who is watching you, who's looking at you. What if you put your information and your photograph in social media and a psychopath finds it? Okay. A lot of people, when we think about psychopaths and sociopaths, we often think that they're stupid, but they're not. So you got your information up on this website and you really don't have any real protection. I mean, honestly, I love Jesus Christ too. You know what I'm saying? I have a love for all of the deities and the gods and the goddesses, but it don't look like they're protecting people much. I mean, not everybody, right? So to me, as a spiritualist, an eclectic witch, I know that the best protection is a spirit doll, actually, is the number one best way to protect yourself. That is from psychic attacks, witchcraft, curses, and everything that comes along with that, right? So you put your information up on this site, you're putting pictures of your family, you're putting pictures up, and then all of a sudden, things start getting weird. You might get sick. You might lose your job. You might lose your mind. Why is this happening? Did you ever consider that it could be that psychopath that's watching you in your social media? I think that that's what that movie Get Out was about. You go and look at the movie Get Out, it wasn't just about, these people taking these people to like this crazy place. It was about people in social media picking you out, choosing you for their purpose. And it's crazy because in that movie, the crazy guy was trying to steal consciousness. Literally, they were taking people's brains out of their bodies so that they could take their brain, which meant that they would take their gifts, their talents, maybe even possibly their money. That's how those people had all that money, because what they were doing anyway. So you got a person in social media that has your first and last name as well as your location. And they get fixated on you. Let's say that that person gets fixated on you. Let's say that that person knows witchcraft, right? That person knows something about the esoteric. They have esoteric knowledge. And we all know that everybody that has esoteric knowledge doesn't necessarily have self esteem. We all know that by now, right? We all know by now that everybody that practices the craft, we're all at different levels. There are some people that are very codependent. There are some people that practice the way that they were taught. There are a lot of people that can manipulate, but they don't exactly have power. So then they go out and they seek your power, or they seek to destroy because, maybe they have some other type of spiritual issue, lack of faith. And so they're able to get your photograph, they're able to print it out, and they're able to manipulate your whole life. And you'll never know that they're doing it. Now, of course, those people can't manipulate you as much as, let's say, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. We put a lot of emphasis on that. But what about those strangers online that form some kind of attachment to you, stalkerish infatuation? What about them? What can they actually take your name and your photograph and do with it? What can they do with it? Now, we all know that a person that's doing that possibly could have limited power. It might depend on their ancestors, or it might depend on other things. Now, typically, a person that is seeking to destroy, of course, their life is crap. Not all the time, but their life might be crap, right? And instead of that person being able to change what they want to change, they'll decide, I'm going to ruin this other person. Most of the people that are in social media have been through this. My spirits actually exposed me. They didn't expose me. They exposed this to me. So let's say that a person does that. They take your picture and your name and they can't really do much with it. Let's say that happens. But then they have your name, and our government allows these people to look up your information. So now they know where you live, and they're obsessive, because an obsessive type of person can get your information and come to where you live. But let's say they're not coming there to murder you or rob you, right? Let's say that they're coming there to go through your trash to get personal items of yours. That's the next level to the obsession. I know where this person lives, and they have to put their trash out on the curb. So to get a personal item of somebody's so that they can do work on you is not that difficult. I mean, it could literally be as small as a piece of mail. Those of you that may have thrown out some old clothes, those of you that may have thrown out your tampons or either your pads or even your hair. Then what are they going to be able to do? Do you think that that person will be able to manipulate you in any kind of way? If they're knowledgeable. And you know what is another movie that speaks about this big time is Child's Play. Because y'all remember in Child's Play when Chucky first learned the dark arts or esoteric knowledge, he learned it from that African man, taught him how to manipulate energy, taught him how to, uh, pretty much put himself into that doll, okay? Which is just an example. But, Chucky was nuts. That man was nuts. Okay, which is why he got shot by the police. But he still knew the dark arts. He still knew about soul transference. That's necromancy. Basically, is what that man taught him. He taught him necromancy. That's necromancy. Necromancy is when you literally learn how to do that. And, a person can be taught. A lot of people say that you can't really teach that it comes internally. but that can actually be taught. So a person that enjoys preying upon people could easily get to you in social media. And hey, Ram Lab. So it's kind of too late to just, because a lot of people will say, I stopped my Facebook a long time ago, or I stopped this a long time ago. But the person still has your information. They still know where to find you. And they're obsessed and they know witchcraft. What do you do? Well, first of all, I think it's important to protect yourself. And I think it's important to protect your homes and your houses. Um, a lot of people don't realize this. And I've sensed it. I've actually sensed and seen because for some reason I was blessed with the gift of sight. And one day I was just sitting there chilling and relaxing. And all of a sudden I had this kind of like this dull pain. It just kind of went through like my thigh. But at the same time, I could see somebody who had a very weak spirit doll on me. That's why you have to protect your soul. You have to protect yourself. And they were poking it with needles, and I could see that. So my point is that here's my whole point is that enemies are, hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. Hold on. I'm back, y'all. All right, y'all. I'm back. So back to my discussion. And I can't be here that long because I decided that I'm gonna like I would suggest not only making a spirit protection doll for yourselves, but I would make it for your children. I would make a spirit doll for protection so that other people can't control your whole household, your whole situation, right? Because there's some people that are just they're just obsessed with it. Um it happens and you got to learn how to protect yourself. Okay? Not learn how to protect yourself, but just protect yourself from that. Be aware of who might be on your friends list that's not exactly your friend. Be aware of that. Very aware of these psychopathic people. you know? It's a lot of miserable people out there that are filled with demons and spirits that are not helpful. Some demons, some spirits are very helpful. A lot of them ain't, and you have to protect yourself. And especially when it comes to that energy harvesting thing too, because there's some people that can, they know how to take from other people, which is kind of ridiculous to me, you guys, because why not just take from the universe? Why not get your energy from where you're supposed to get it from? Who knows? Who knows why people do that? Maybe it's just, their limited belief system. You know what I'm saying? But it's very, very, very true how people are. And you got people with all sorts of, you know, warped thinking, right? They have a warped thought process. That's why you have people out in social media hating certain groups of people for whatever reason. And the next thing you know, that person becomes obsessed with trying to tear you down and destroy you and your family. I think women fall prey to this more than men, although I've seen the way men can fall prey to it. I've seen it, I've witnessed it, how men can fall prey to people in social media, but women a lot at the hands of either men or women. They'll become obsessed for whatever reason. They're obsessed, and especially a lot of you that you're. I'm gonna tell y'all what's up with that. Social media and small business, um, is a lot. It's a lot. It can open up a lot of space and opportunity for you. But then you have the psychopaths that want to try to ruin you and your ideas and your plans in life, right? That's exactly what they want to do, you know? And, you can't let them do that. You can't just keep saying to yourself, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, it's this, that, and the other. You can't just say that. You have to realize that you can be getting manipulated every single day of your life by a person that has the time and the means to do it, or the education. And that's why a lot of people, I used to look at a lot of conspiracy theory videos and stuff on YouTube, and a lot of people would say, oh, well, this is government funded. And the reason why is because people that are government funded typically are the only ones that have time for that. Like, for example, for me, I have time to educate the public on my knowledge. I have time to do work for people that pay me to do it. I have time for my family, and I have time for my loved ones. That's what I have time for, because I don't, when I got to pay these bills every month, I don't have nobody doing that for me. When I got to put food in my refrigerator, I don't have the government helping me do that. So if you get like a handout, or if you're a person that's used to getting that, and not saying this about people, let's use logic. Okay, there's a lot of people that do get certain funding from the government, and you guys are perfectly normal people who don't bother anybody. But there's some people that are very psychopathic, and they're able to do that because of the support system. If everybody actually had to work for everything that they got, or if they had to put something else into it, then they wouldn't have the time to do those things, would they? They would have to spend their energy working. The people that get something for free, you know what I'm saying? They got the time and the energy. That's just like I made a potato and meat dish tonight. You know what I'm saying? I made that for dinner. And guess what? Every potato, I used 5 potatoes and a half a pound of meat. Every potato, the onion I used, the water I used, the butter I used was paid for by my work. Okay. And so, there's a lot of people, they got the time. They got the time to sit around and do that. And I mean, I wouldn't suggest doing that because it's going to create negative karma. I've talked about my past life and the karma that I had a couple of lifetimes after that, and still dealing with it, but I'm getting more of the good karma in this life. Um, some people are just about that karmic life. I don't even have to tell you that, that stuff will catch up with you. I mean, I guess if you think about it, you know, well, I don't want to say that. For me, I offer a service to people and I get paid for it. So it's an even exchange of energy. And so I don't look at it that way. But then when you think about the fact that some people they don't have to pay a mortgage or rent at the beginning of the month. They don't have to. If they had to, they wouldn't have time to do the things that they're doing, would they? Which is what? What are they doing exactly? Right? So be careful out there. I had made a spirit doll for myself. I'm not going to ever show it on YouTube because then it would run the risk of somebody trying to manipulate it. But I made a spirit doll to protect my energy. And it's really important to protect your energy. And I decided I'm going to make one on my whole immediate family. I had a client last year who, all of a sudden, and it was shortly after they had they had done something on Facebook. It was shortly afterwards, and then all of a sudden her husband had fell ill, right? And he just started acting weird. Behavior just changed all the way. And when I did a reading for her, I could see that somebody, and he didn't even know this person, had done a spirit doll on him. Did a spirit doll on him and started to manipulate him. Why? Because he had become infatuated with her. She couldn't understand why her husband he was just acting strange and weird. You know what I'm saying? Not acting like himself, became a totally different person. And so I started working on him for her. And at the time, I was aware, but I didn't want to be aware of what people can actually do with the knowledge that they know. And so, I mean, he had gotten real psychotic acting towards her. I mean, just withdrawn and, just real, just kind of nutty. And, you know, what we had found out was that it was sort of like a partial soul snatching, to where his consciousness was gone and something else had replaced it. After I had worked on him, and we still working on it. After I had done work on him and pulled him back, he had started getting better because he started getting kind of sick. He started having all sorts of nightmares and stuff, and it was some person, I could see them, some bitter person that, you know, and she knew I was telling the truth because when I initially done the reading for her, I could see this man. I said, I see a man and he's obsessed and he's manipulating him. Once I had done that, once I started doing work for her, it cleared up. So, it can happen, and it's happening more and more. I mean, they're never going to outlaw witchcraft. It's never going to happen. Okay, because witchcraft is way too important. They're never going to outlaw it. Okay, they're not going to do that. Possibly in the future, they are going to put like, uh, well, they've already done that, and you can't really do that under the guise of law necessarily, but there's certain things that, you know, that you wouldn't be able to do. Okay. So, but that's in the far, far future. But I can tell you that they're never going to outlaw it. There's actually a video stating that more people are turning to witchcraft. But some of those people that turned to witchcraft, they turned to it and they figured out a way to manipulate people, and they did. So, for example, if you signed up for Facebook and you're like posting, oh, it was a wonderful day, my kid did this and my kid did that, and you got some bitter nuts, nutso psycho person, and they're looking at it. That's why they give you the option of hiding your posts, and they're looking at it and they're upset, and then so they do a little work on you, or a lot, depending on how far they can get past the threshold, unless they got to show up at your house and steal your trash, right? So they did a little work on you, and the next thing they knew they could see you posting all this negative stuff, and they're like, yes, I did it. I posted all of this. They posted all this negative stuff. I have turned this person negative, and the next thing you know, you're posting all this craziness. I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck. People can be crazy, but a few of those cases that I've seen where people have went live to kill themselves or other people, those people were under manipulation. It's a fact that I've known for quite some time now. When I opened my eyes, in particular, that show Snapped. Like when I watch it, it's like I'm watching it through open eyes, and you can even see sometimes the demons and the spirits that be on them people, especially if it's actual real footage of a person. You can just see it. You have to have a spiritual eye to be able to see it, but you can see it, and you can even feel it. If you're an empath, you can feel it's like, ooh, what the hell is that? So it's a very, very real thing, and you got to watch yourself in social media because people will want to manipulate you. It's like a child finding a new toy and not exactly knowing the right thing to do with it. What happened to my hair bow thing? God dang it. I don't know what I did with it. Oh well. Sometimes when people discover the craft, or what they call hoodoo or voodoo, and it'll be like a shiny new toy and they get to play with it. And then especially if you post in your personal business, or you're displaying, what is happening currently in your real life. And of course, you got to be in that, what they call the Holy Spirit of understanding. But there's a lot of people that don't understand. So, for example, They'll see something that you're doing, they won't understand it, and what will they do? They will respond by trying to throw something at you. For example, if you see two people having an argument over something, and you take and so if you're in an argument or a beef with somebody and you're doing it online, there are some people that will be looking at that beef, and they will be on one person's side, on one of the people's side, and they may know witchcraft, and then they'll just start playing around with it just because this person said that. So I'm gonna throw something at them. I'm gonna put a spirit on them because I take this other person's side, not realizing that they just should have minded their own business, right? But because of people's differences in opinions, and because of people's differences, it will turn those differences into something different in your life, into something bad in your life. And you got to be careful. Even when you're going back and forth and having these debates on Facebook, somebody could be looking at that and they may not have it all. Like, I'm sorry, I personally feel like people should not be all obsessive and paranoid and, oh, this person said this to me, they trying to ruin me, they trying to destroy me, so I gotta throw something at them. And the next thing you know, you got some kind of spiritual back and forth. So every battle ain't necessarily worth fighting. It ain't. Okay. But I think that some of them are, especially if it's somebody that is fixated on you. You got to do something about that. Okay. And don't give up on it. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually you're gonna come out on top. And if you just fold, and that don't mean that you got to be out arguing with nobody. I bet you there's probably threads on Facebook that are 300 pages long of people arguing and going back and forth. Well, I think this and I think that. You know what I'm saying? And well, I think this and I think that. And some of those people that think this or think that, shit, they gonna back it up with some work. Next thing you know, you wondering why you having a hard ass goddamn time. You like, what the hell is going on? The world is messed up. That's the first thing people say. It's just that somebody might have put something on you. And that's not to say that everything that happens is spiritual. Everything happens because of spirit, because of what? Because of energy. That is the truth. And so there are some people in this world that, they may sit back and, destroy each other. You got to make sure that you're protected from that. And you just never know who could be puppeteering you, too. That's another thing. And so spirit dolls can be used to um, manipulate you, and people just want to manipulate you for their own purpose. So it's the same thing with I don't know. I think that a lot of us pretty much kind of understand how witchcraft works, but when it comes to spirit dolls, where you use cotton or you use certain things from the earth like salt and herbs and intent, then you can really, really manipulate a person. So that's why you have to counteract it. Okay, you have to counteract that energy with something solid that is of the earth. It's kind of, I remember hold on. I remember there was a time in my practice where, I would, this was back in 2005 15 and 2016, to where I had a Monopoly game and I would actually manifest real money out of Monopoly money. You know what I'm saying? I would. But you got to know how to do it. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. And you can clearly tell that there's a lot of people that really don't know how to manifest money because they're very codependent. And, I'm not at liberty to disclose that here, but, it's one of those things. And so, like I was telling y'all, um, it's a good thing to know so that you won't end up being a puppet for somebody else. That, you know, there's a lot of smart, stupid people at the same time in this world. They're very, very intelligent, but they may not have the human qualities or boundaries that they should have, that we wish that more people had. And you got to be careful. You have to be very, very careful to not allow people to manipulate you. And if somebody does manipulate you in a negative way, they have to get that karma. They do. And they get it. Trust me, they get it. But they not going to get it if you, like, sometimes they will. Sometimes karma just kind of happens naturally, but sometimes you have to force it because there's a lot of people that, have figured out how to protect themselves from karma, okay, from negative karma. Almost, not really. They can try to, but when it was said that people are not supposed to trespass on you, that was the truth. There's a lot of people that are trespassing on people. A lot, you know, and you have to be careful. Otherwise, your aspirations and dreams and whole life can be shattered, and you'll be sitting there thinking, why is this not happening? Why is it? You know what I'm saying? And that'll be the reason why you'll set your mind to do something, but you won't actually do it because 24/7, somebody could be manipulating you and they may have some kind of vendetta against you. Okay. And they don't even have to know you. You know, every spiritualist or everybody that practices the occult are not smart. They're just predators. There's some that are very predatorial. Okay. They're just very predatorial. And for some reason, being honest and being trustworthy, they try to convince people that that's not the way to go, but it is. And so, that's why they wanted to silence and discredit me for so long because I just don't operate that way. Um, I don't operate that way. It's pure manifestation. When I ask the universe for something, they're going to give it to me. And I know how to do it without doing harm to someone else. I'm not saying that I'm Wiccan. I mean, obviously, there's some things that you may have to do that might possibly hurt somebody temporarily, but it is what it is. But for the most part, especially when it comes to that soul harvesting, energy harvesting thing, that right there. That right there is what really, to be honest with you, if you want to talk about God don't like that. And so it was funny because last night I was thinking that the planet Mercury is like God. Mercury is God, but Mercury is not God. Okay. Um, it's one aspect of God, but the planet Mercury. So it's one aspect, but it's not actually God. I think that if you're on planet Earth, really planet Earth is gonna be your first God because you're here. And planet Earth is what it is. Very feminine spirited. Earth is a feminine energy. It is. And as you guys can see, women who are considered feminine, they have been some of the worst victims of everything. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not playing a victim saying that I would never hate men. They're just too valuable. Men are way too valuable. Um, especially the ones that we love and care about. But, because I think that if you go too far to the left with that, then you're gonna run into some problems because that's gonna create imbalances in your spirit, because men wouldn't be here if they weren't supposed to, and women too. So, some of these crazy psychopaths will be on this plight of get rid of all men or get rid of all women or get rid of all of this or so is it that's when you realize and see, I don't know, like they say that power corrupts. And so a lot of people, when they run into their power, they can be corrupted, but they learn very quickly. I believe that Saturn teaches people, when you discover your own personal power, just don't be corrupt in it. But, there's a big debate in the spiritual community as to, even light magic, even money blessing magic, because I do a lot of money work for people. And so, when you're doing a simple get a job spell and you do it and the person gets the job, right? And somebody else doesn't get the job. So another person that wanted that job or maybe even needed that job won't get it because the other person got the leg up because they used the craft to do it. And this other person probably just said, I hope I get it. And then they don't get it because somebody else did that work, right? So that's what we're dealing with here. And, the consciousness is never going to change. It's never going to change. It isn't. Um, so it's something, it's one of those things where you just got to roll with the punches. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're like a Rockefeller, you out here with the rest of us. And I personally think that we all contribute to one another. And I think that if everybody just accepts that, kind of like that barter and trade thing and just kind of sing kumbaya, but you always got people that they want to be the one on top. They want to be the best. They want to be, out of everybody in the whole damn world. And the world is very broad and big. Even if they actually able to reduce the population, it's still going to be a lot of people. So that's a lot of people, a lot of people, a lot of opportunity. And what we basically do when you look at the energy and vibrations of money and commerce is that we just kind of feed each other. But there's a lot of people that are just like, I am God. And it's good to connect with that higher aspect of self. It really is. But it shouldn't be egotistical. You know what I'm saying? People become egotistical or whatever, you know. So it's just one of those things, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so be careful out here in social media, is my point, because you just never know who's watching you and what their intent is. Okay. Hey, Ramlap, anybody got any questions? Y'all be getting real quiet. I like it when y'all get quiet. That means that y'all listening. Mm-hmm. Um, a lot of that old consciousness and way of thinking is becoming less and less popular. Right now, what people are trying to do is they're trying to clear themselves of all of that. Honestly, it's a who and spirit is making it happen. Because there's so many spirits that are roaming around that felt like they didn't get a fair shake. Okay. And so they didn't really understand at the time that they were here what was actually happening with them because they were, dumbed down at some point or made to be ignorant to these facts that I'm speaking to y'all. Okay. So I don't even think, in the Bible where it says that the worst thing that the devil did was to convince people that he didn't exist. No, the worst thing that happened was to convince people that witchcraft didn't exist. Because the most people, y'all know what a fact is that most of the people that I've peeped out that don't believe in witchcraft are some of the most manipulated. But then again, there's a lot of people that know about witchcraft that are being manipulated. And so, I don't know. I was going to come on here and show you guys the evil eye and what it actually looks like. I think I'm going to keep that information to myself for a few more years. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep that information to myself for a little while. And everything that I talk about is so funny. Like 3 to 6 months later, I'll talk about it, and then I'll see another video talking, saying the same exact thing. Not that I'm upset about it, but they'll have millions of views, on their video. But I'm like, I just said that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm not even saying that I thought of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's just awareness. Okay, and just be aware. It's a lot of things that we became aware of last year, especially. I think it freaked a majority of the world out. I think it really, really did, to the point where people have to go and sometimes, especially with that soul snatching thing that happened, and that guy that was singing that song, and them people was being raptured in the middle of his song and died. Like when Michael Jackson was alive and well and doing his shows, yeah, a few of his fans may have passed out, but they didn't die. Like this man's fans were dying at the concert. That freaked so many people out that they said, I'm turning away from that. But turning away doesn't mean that that energy won't stab you in the back. Hey, Miss Fairy. Thank you, Miss Fairy. Thank you. So, anyway, I was just about to get out of here. So, I'm going to go. I will catch y'all later. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up. And if y'all new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Thank you to all my new subs. I appreciate it. And make sure y'all share this video in y'all social media. Okay. All right. I'll catch y'all later. Y'all have a happy Thursday. Okay. Blessings.